And for an announcement, Chair recognizes the Majority Leader from Cali, Senator Alley.
Thank you, Mr. President. On your desk, please find the conference committee reports. Bring those with you, and the Republicans will caucus in 548. And so your documents are on your desk. Please bring those with you. And now I yield to Senator from Douglas, Senator Francisco.
Senator from Douglas, Senator Francisco.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Senate Democrats will caucus in our regular room 287 North upon recess. I yield back to the Senator from Cali.
Senator from Cali, Senator Alley.
I move the Senate recess to the sound of the gavel.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Senate's in recess.
Messages from the House. The clerk will read.
The House adopts the Conference Committee report to agree to disagree on HB 2001 and has appointed Representatives Barker, Owens, and Miller as second conferees on part of the House.
Conference Committee reports. Senator from Butler, Senator Masterson on House Bill 2001.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Oh, sorry, I was stuck to my chair. So the the Senate went to conference with the House. There, just a handful of adjustments to what we did off the floor. They did accept our unemployment position with 3 caveats to that. One, and we found them to be acceptable. One was any penalties assessed would go into the UI fund versus the general fund. There was what they would call a clawback provision or a double dip provision, which was also if you reclaimed your wages through the administrative process, you couldn't also claim unemployment in that double dip. So basically, Department of Labor could claw back any unemployment that was compensated by wages. And then they asked for severability. And it was somewhat of a unique severability, but we found it acceptable, which basically think of your individual rights and the exemptions as Section 1, unemployment as Section 2. If unemployment was found unconstitutional in any way or there was some type of stay on that, Section 1 would survive and remain. However, if Section 1 was stricken, there would be a full repeal. So we felt like that was an acceptable piece to get the underlying UI, since our focus is those right now. There was a minor piece that, by the way, I forgot to mention even in our own caucus, that it was the Attorney General's office had asked the House to put in it's on page 2, where we had the Attorney General imposing and enforcing the fines, and they had an adjustment that he would secure enforcement by filing an appropriate action with district court. And that was a slight change that was insignificant to the process, but what they felt functioned better, the Attorney General's office did with that. What we asked for was no sunset on people's individual liberties, so there is no sunset in this provision. And there was also the House had an amendment, or they had a position that there was 100 days that the Department of Labor had to adjudicate. They had an amendment that went down to 25. And after that, because that was on the fly, written amendment, there was some consternation. They asked if we jointly would accept 60 days, and we did accept that to give that, we clarified calendar days. But those were the changes. So I think for getting the sunset out, getting unemployment, we did, the House would not accept our floor amendments, although I was encouraged by our votes on that we might get some motivation out of that, because we are just, 50 days from main session. But so our floor amendments did not survive conference, but that's basically where this stands, and I would stand for questions. Actually, I think on this one, I move the Senate adopt the Conference Committee report on House Bill 2001 and would stand for questions.
Further questions? Seeing none.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I've already made the motion. We're ready to adopt the Conference Committee report.
Hold for final action. No questions. We'll hold for final action. We are now ready for final action. On this roll call, we will take the following: the Conference Committee report on House Bill 2001. The clerk will read the title.
House Bill number 2001, an act concerning employer COVID-19 vaccine requirements.
The clerk will call the roll.
Alley. Baumgardner.
Aye.
Bellinger. Bowers. Blaze. Orson. Dietrich. Dahl. Erickson. Fag. Auscudo. Francisco. Gossage. Haley. Hawk. Hildebrand. Holland. Holscher. Kirshen. Luce. Longbine. Masterson. Again.
Senator McGinn, please repeat your vote.
Olson. O'Shea. Heck. Peterson. Petty. Pittman. Kyle. Reichman. Steffen. Straub. Sullentrop. Sykes. Thompson. Tyson. Ware. Warren. Wilborn.
Has every senator had an opportunity to vote? Does any senator wish to explain their vote? Senator from Brown, Senator Pyle.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Can we get a preliminary count, please?
"22 yea, 12 no.
Vote aye.
Does any senator wish to explain their vote? Senator from Johnson, Senator Sykes.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I understand that many Kansans are hurt, confused, and uncertain as we continue to navigate this pandemic. I understand that we all would like to go back to how things were before, that we like to keep working our jobs, that we like to make decisions without feeling the weight of our communities on our shoulders. This bill does not do that. It does not guarantee that you will have a job regardless of your personal health choices or religious beliefs. Instead, it provides a patina of support while putting Kansas businesses in an impossible position. I hope that this body does address the workers' rights issues that have arisen throughout this debate. We do not need to make things harder for our businesses and provide Kansans with a false sense of security. In the meantime, I vote no, and I would like my remarks spread on the journal.
Would you like to have your words spread across the, so ordered? Senator from Douglas, Senator Holland.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I'll be brief. This bill does not provide any clarity for our employees or our small business owners. Whether or not those business owners have basically federal contracts is irrelevant at this point. I will state it again. My concern is that Kansas is a right-to-work state. I think we're giving Kansas citizens a false impression that they are getting additional privileges and rights in which violate that right-to-work tenets in our statute of laws and quite honestly infringe upon the property rights of business owners. I'm also disturbed to see that basically with the severability that basically if there's anything wrong with the bill, the UI is first to go. This bill did not do our Kansas employees any favors. It creates confusions. I will be introducing a UI bill specifically for COVID, those who are terminated for COVID, for refusing to take COVID-19 vaccinations, and asking those to sign it if so wish. Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
You wish your words spread across the room. Are there any other explanations of vote? Senator from Johnson, Senator Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Over 350 million individuals' rights are being trampled by a presidential mandate that violates the First, Fourth, Fifth, Ninth, 10th, and 14th Amendments. Kansans are fed up. And since the mandate, they have been rising up to say this is where it must stop. If we cannot stop this intrusion into our most personal decisions about our health, where does it end? We've heard the voices of our citizens, and tonight we're at the beginning of a turning point back toward individual liberty. States have plenary power and the duty to fight against unconstitutional actions. It's taken over 100 years to reach this level of federal tyranny, and it'll take a long time to restore the rights originally intended by our founders. But that journey has necessarily begun with this vital bill that protects jobs, families, and the rights of our citizens. Is this bill the perfect remedy? No. Many of us here tonight want a lot more. But this is a victory for liberty and the patriots standing tall across Kansas whose voices do matter. They are why we are here tonight. We cannot let our vigilance wane or drop our guard. And liberty is only one generation away from extinction. Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I will ask that they be spread across the journal. Thank you.
So be it. Senator from Reno, Senator Steffen.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. With the good senator from Johnson County's permission, I'd like to sign on with him.
So noted. Senator from Barton, Senator Straub.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I also, with the permission of the senator from Johnson, Senator Thompson's permission, would like to join in his comments. And one further comment to my children and all of the people who stood up and spoke before this special committee and who came today to the Capitol. Thank you. We will not be silent. I was not silent. And don't give up. Thank you.
Senator Warren, or Senator Johnson, excuse me. Senator from Johnson, Senator Warren.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. It's important to remember that the reason that we are here today is because of one man, President Mr. Joe Biden, who decided that he must push through constitutionally dubious vaccine mandates through regulatory agencies, attempting to use American businesses as proxies to do what he knew he could most likely legally not do. These mandates have put our state, our businesses, and regular Kansans and families in a horrible position. Do what we, the government, say or fire your employees. Do what we say or lose your job. No matter if you have done a number of things to keep your workforce safe, you must obey us or you will be fined or lose your federal contract or be forced to fire those same frontline heroes we were just celebrating mere months ago, exacerbating the very workforce shortage which is already hurting Kansas businesses. And that is why we as a legislature are here today. And we are deeply, deeply thankful for the thousands of Kansans who wrote to us, called us, testified before the special committee, joined us here at the Capitol on various days. While we recognize that there are competing liberty interests before us today, when legislators are faced with a vote in which individual liberties are at stake, we must and we do stand with the people. I vote yes on HB 2001. Thank you, Mr. Vice President, and I would request that my words be spread across the journal.
Duly noted. The senator from Sedgwick, Senator Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. With his permission, I'd like to join the senator from Johnson, Senator Thompson, in his remarks.
It is duly noted. The senator from Sedgwick, Senator Erickson.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. With her permission, I'd like to join the remarks from the Senator from Johnson, Senator Warren.
Duly noted. Senator from Johnson, Senator Gossage.
With the permission of the two senators from Johnson, both Thompson and Warren, I would like to join their remarks, and I'd like to add that all of the people who are in the gallery, folks that have written to all of us on email, we heard you, and particularly a gentleman in the gallery today who said my religious exemption was denied and I was fired, and I'm a chaplain. If he can't get a religious exemption, who can? And I just want him to know that we heard him. We heard the nurses who said that they were forbidden from their hospital to write a medical exemption from anyone. We heard you too. I vote yes on this bill that we can help folks who are faced in this situation. They may lose their job. Thank you.
Senator from Douglas, Senator Francisco.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. With her permission, I would like to join the senator from Johnson, Senator Sykes, on her remarks.
Duly noted. Senator from Wyandotte, Senator Haley.
With her permission, Mr. Vice President, I too would like to join the senator's remarks from Johnson, Senator Sykes, and hope, honestly, Mr. Vice President, for Kansas's sake and the country's sake and the world's, that we find some way to curb this scourge, this pandemic that we all want to see as soon as possible cured. Used to say that we would do anything, we'd avoid things like the plague, if you remember. But apparently, Mr. Vice President, people don't avoid the plague anymore. And I hope that we'll turn to that point when we do, because indeed it's plaguing our society and our world and dividing us in places that we shouldn't be.
Do you wish your remarks to be spread across the journal?
No, only to join the senator from Johnson, if you would.
Duly noted. Thank you. The senator from Montgomery, Senator Peck.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I had several things I thought about saying. I was wanting much stronger legislation that went much further, but I believe the senator from Johnson pretty much said what I was going to say. So I will change my no vote to a yes vote. And with the permission of the senator from Johnson, Senator Thompson, I would like to join his remarks.
Duly noted. Thank you. Are there any other explanation of vote? Yes, the senator from Douglas, Senator Holland.
With her permission, I'd like to join the senator from Johnson, Senator Sykes' remarks.
Duly noted. Any other change or explanation of vote? Seeing none, or is there any change of votes? The clerk will close the roll and tally the vote. Twenty-four voting in favor, 11 against. The measure, having received the required constitutional majority, is hereby declared passed. Senate, we will now stand at ease.
Senate will come to order. Introduction of bills and concurrent resolutions, the clerk will read.
Senate Concurrent Resolution Number 1602 by Senators Masterson, Alley, and Sykes. A concurrent resolution relating to the 2021 special session of the Legislature and providing for the adjournment thereof. Be it resolved by the Senate of the State of Kansas, the House of Representatives concurring therein, that the Legislature shall adjourn sine die at the close of business of the daily session convened on November 22nd, 2021.
This constitutes introduction of SCR 1602. Chair recognizes the Majority Leader from Cali, Senator Alley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move an emergency be declared, the rules suspended, and SCR 1602 be adopted by voice vote.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Are there announcements? Seeing none, Chair recognizes the Majority Leader from Cali, Senator Alley.
Thank you, Mr. President. In compliance with SCR 1602, I move the Senate adjourn sine die.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. By virtue of the authority vested in me as President of the Senate, I now declare the 2021 special session of the Senate adjourned sine die.